Welcome to this episode of Consider It Blacklit. I am Kim, your host, and for those of you tuning in for the first time, Consider It Blacklit highlights films, television programs, and stage plays that feature African Americans both up front and behind the scenes. We also discuss social issues as it relates to some of these programs and how they may or may not impact our communities. So thank you for tuning in, and we hope you continue to tune in each week. Today it is my pleasure to highlight a producer, actress, writer, and director, Okema Moore. Welcome.
Hi.
She's done so many things, but what I'm going to have her do is tell the audience a little bit about herself and her background before we get into her projects. So go right ahead.
So like you said, I'm a multi-hyphenate. I think it's really important that as a multi-hyphenate, you make sure that you do each thing fairly well before you want to tack on a new title. So my background is work. Lots and lots of work. I started on Sesame Street, and from there I went into music. I was in a group, and we were pretty big around the city at the time. This was in the early 90s. 95, I got signed to Elektra under Tamar Braxton's ex-husband, Vincent, and Barry Hankerson. Speaking of ex-husbands, Gladys Knight's ex-husband. But they weren't exes at that time.
Oh, so you're a singer too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I started in music. The game really changed. Our deal got dropped, we got shelved, and I had to go to college. So I was like, I'm never gonna perform again. That was a lie. But I didn't most of college because I was just so dejected by what happened. And you know, you think that something's gonna happen, especially as a kid, and then it doesn't. So I studied business because I promised nobody was gonna be able to jerk me ever again. So I got a business and finance degree from Brooklyn College. And then I moved out of state, started singing with music and some other people out in Philly. Moved back to New York and got back into the acting scene with Ben Harney playing Laurel Robinson in Dreamgirls in 06, and then the acting just kind of went from there. But I wasn't really finding roles that represented women I knew. It was always kind of a lot of stereotypical things or things that just I didn't feel represented the breadth of who Black women were. And so I was like, well, then I'm just gonna have to write them.
Wow, that's a lot.
I know.
So I met Okema at the American Black Film Festival, and she was one of the producers of Little Apple, and Little Apple won Best Web Series. I was so excited, I was screaming from the audience. So why don't you tell our audience about that project and what Little Apple is all about? So
Little Apple is a live-action web series with some animation, as well as a comic book and video podcast. It was written, created, and directed by Riley Wilson, Riley S. Wilson. And he is a young African-American man, graduate of Howard University.
Oh, HU.
Yes, yeah. I know how you guys, I know that life. I know that you guys go hard for you Bisons. So he wanted to do, he was so affected by the young lady that we had seen some time ago that had gotten thrown across the room by the school guard. And he has a younger sister, and he was like, well, that could be my sister. And so he wanted to create a project that really showed the agency and the power that Black women have. And so he created Little Apple. Our executive producer is Lisa Cortez, amazing producer, award-winning Academy. She was the executive producer for Precious,
right,
and so many other great films. Right now she's doing the Apollo doc that's on the festival circuit. And Little Apple is about a little 9-year-old girl. She has superpowers. She's claircognizant, which means she knows, she's learning all things. And she's coming into her powers, and she's using them to dismantle the oppressions that we face today, everything from gentrification to sexism, xenophobia, homophobia, etc. I'm so excited and honored to be a producer on the project.
How did you become involved with the project?
So they had lost a producer in the process of pre-production for season 1. Season 1 is complete. And I had just worked on The Tale of Four, which was Gabby Sidibe's short film for Refinery 29. And it was Lisa and Sidra Smith that had cast me in that. And so they knew that I was a producer as well, and the lead, Milan, was in another series that I produced and AD'd called Up North. She was one of the young leads in that. And so her mom was like, well, we know a producer, she just worked with us and she got us all together and you should call her. And so turns out they called and we talked, and I heard about the project and I was like, I have to do it. And so we wound up doing it, and it's so weird because Up North we shot maybe 3 years ago, so Byron Allen's company just bought it.
Oh, wow.
And so that's moving along too. So it's just the separation, the degrees of separation are so small.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Wow. So how could someone see it if they wanted to see Little Apple?
So the trailer is up. There are clips up, and you can always follow our social and become part of the Little Apple universe at littleappleseries.com, littleappletheseries.com. But we are still negotiating a home for the series, and we are also working on getting some feedback about doing something more. But you can also read the story in our comic book.
Okay.
We opened the Black Comic Festival this year at the Schomburg.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Thank you, and the comic book is definitely, so if you go to the site, you can absolutely find us, and you can read the comic book and read the story, and keep up, make sure you sign up with the Little Apple universe so that you can keep up on all the things we have coming, because we got a lot coming out.
Okay, yay, Little Apple. So let's go back to your background. You've been in entertainment for a very long time when you were very young. How does your family feel about you being in entertainment?
It's been a long road. I come from a very old school, traditional West Indian and Southern family. My father is Guyanese, my mother is Bajan, Barbados, and Louisiana Creole. So it was just a bunch of folks that came and made their way here, and you know, my family is very much, you know, they work for the city, they work for the government, they work teachers, very, very black and white, traditional, we have a pension kind of lives. And so
they were like, go get a job down at the post office.
Well, right, take all the tests, right? Because coming up in the 90s, like, you were encouraged to take all the tests. Transit, police, corrections, like, you take all the tests. I don't want to do none of that. And I knew I didn't want to do any of that. And you know, you come from an old school, you know, real bills require a real job, and what you do is a hobby. You know, that's the words, right? And so it took some time for them to kind of understand that what I was doing was real, but it was also a me, because I was in corporate finance for a very long time. I got very comfortable with the money, but I was miserable. And it's like, well, if I relegate my dreams to nights and weekends to build these people's multi-millions after they've already gotten billions, then when do I get to really be me?
Right.
So in 2014, I walked away from my six-figure salary and my bonus and went on set to make $10 an hour as a PA.
That takes a lot of courage.
I was petrified because I had tried to walk away before and I wasn't ready. And I couldn't find a gig, and I got really depressed, and it was a really dark time for me, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm not fully cooked yet. And so I went back to work, because bills, and I started just learning more. And I knew that I wanted to produce, but I wasn't really sure what that meant. And so instead of giving Tish 160 grand that I didn't have for an MFA, I did their non-matriculated program, which is one of the best things I ever did. And so I got my producing certification from them. I have a finance degree and a business degree. So it was like, okay, all of these skills from being in corporate America, being in this, you know, C-suite EA and all of that is all transferable. And then I just continued to learn on the job and get really great mentors and really great people that believed in what I could do and my potential and teach me. And many of them have been on your show.
Oh, okay.
Many of them have been on your show. And so, you know, I was blessed to really have people that believed in what I could do and that showed me I could do it. And now I'm finally in a space where in the last 3 years I've been a full-time creative, and I haven't had to sit in anybody's office. I haven't had to do any of those things, and it's been really a blessing.
Well, congratulations to you. I know it's a difficult road, but it seems very rewarding.
It is. It's scary, though. Like, I'll never sit and pretend like I'm not scared. I quit at least once a week, but I'm still here. And I do it afraid, but never in fear.
Okay.
So I'm scared all the time. Like, every new project freaks me out in the beginning, and I'm afraid, and can I do this? But I'm also remembering that for me, I rely on my spirituality very much. It's what has gotten me through, and I know that God has not given me a spirit of fear, so I'm like, I'll do it afraid because I'm a human, but I'm also a spirit that inhabits this human body, and if I'm connected to his spirit, then I can never do it in fear.
Amen.
And so that's kind of how I've got that together.
That's great, that's great. So you do a lot of different things, and you're involved in a lot of different projects. How do you, like, juggle everything? How do you manage it all?
I don't know. Someone asked me that last night, a friend of mine. He's doing his first project, and he was like, yo, how do you do this? I really have learned to compartmentalize myself. When I'm writing, I don't watch any television. If I'm writing fiction, I don't watch any fiction. I don't watch anything that could subconsciously bleed into what I'm doing. So I'm writing, and so I will say, okay, I will block out and literally put in my calendar 3 hours, and those 3 hours I'm a writer. I'm not anything else. if I'm auditioning or if I'm in something, then when I'm working on those lines, I'm not thinking about anything else but learning my lines. I'm an actor. If I'm working on something as a director, then when I'm doing my research or I'm doing my studying or my notes or putting things together, then for that moment, I am not the talent, even if I'm in it at that moment. So I've really learned how to kind of compartmentalize myself in those moments, and then I just have really great people around me. You mentioned Lisa Cortez, but what are some of the other names that people may recognize that you worked with in the past? Music-wise, I used to sing for Music Soul Child. We used to open up for SWV, Intro, Malira. Malira was one of my first vocal coaches. Ankara is still one of my vocal coaches. And so those are all, you know, people that I've worked with in the music side, and then now in film, Emmeline Stewart was one of the first people to take me to dinner and talk to me about being an executive in this business and how I can transfer my skills. So she was one of the first people to see more than an actor in me. Right. Patrick Coker, who's a very big, he has written like a third of this season's Tales on BET. He's the director of one of my shorts and another mentor, a writing mentor for sure. Him and his partner Adam. Lamar Maxon, who he actually runs New Jersey's version of your network here. Oh, okay. So he's the EP of one of my shorts. He teaches me a lot too. Jamal Hodge, Michael Boogie Pinkney, all these amazing, amazing people that really, you know, Sidra Smith and Lisa, of course, and these are people that really pour into me and really, you know, kind of pull me by my collar if I'm not where I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. They keep you on the right track. They sure do, and don't have no problem doing it. Don't have any problem doing it. So tell us about your production company, More Than Enough Media. Yes. Tell us about that. Growing up, I really had a self-esteem issue, a self-worth issue. I am the survivor of a lot of trauma and assault and so forth. And so I had a family that was trying to provide. And in the midst of trying to provide, I realized as an adult, you can sometimes forget to also throw a lot more love in there. And it's not that I wasn't loved by any means, but you forget to verbalize that when you're trying to hustle to provide. And so I didn't really grow up feeling loved, and I always felt like I wasn't something enough. And whether I was teased about, because growing up I was in the islands a lot, so I was probably like a good 10 shades darker than this, so I was like, I wasn't light enough, and you know, I have 4C hair, and so it wasn't straight enough, and I wasn't, you know, pretty enough, and so I got to a place where I was like, well, what am I? And as I got older and started to really find my own space, and my family really started to kind of reconcile that lack of verbiage, understanding that we needed that even as adults, it was like, okay, well, if I'm made in his image and I'm from this amazing family, then I have to be enough. And then it's like, is just enough enough? Well, no, you want to be more than enough. And then my last name is Moore, and I was like, that's the name of the company. More than enough. And it's to remind myself when I don't feel like I'm doing everything I should, or when I don't feel like I'm enough, that I'm more than enough. And the more that I give to other people, the more I'll get back. And then the more is making sense even more. So, like I said, the web series won an award at the American Black Film Festival, but other projects you've been involved with won awards too. Why don't you tell the audience about that? Well, this year, for the first time in my career, I've premiered at Tribeca. I am the lead producer, creative producer, production manager for a new show called The Future Is Then on Brick TV. It drops this fall. Starring Myra Lucretia, and she's amazing. And it was written and directed and created by Sarah Salavara. So we premiered at Tribeca as part of their new online works program this year. And then Little Apple won ABFF, and then I screened my film short, Shush, with Gentleman Jack's Reel to Reel in New York at the Schomburg this year. My new film, Them, well, Shush won Best Screenwriting last year at the Validate Yourself Film Festival. You know Antoine Allen. Yes, he's another one that gets me together. But we won Best Screenwriting last year. And then my co-star in Shush, Lamar K. Cheston, phenomenal actor. He was up for Best Actor in the Everybody Digital Film Festival. And then I just, on my way here, got notice that we are in the Strong Chance Film Festival, both Shush and my new film Then, and both films are up for Best Actress for myself in both. Congratulations. Best Screenwriter, Best Director, and Best Short.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was like, wait, what?
So you've been in a lot of film festivals. Let's talk about what role you think film festivals play for a filmmaker or a creative person.
Well, for those people that have never, say you've had a film or a project and it's not been accepted, it's okay. Everybody's not going to see your vision. Everybody's not going to feel like your vision is for their audience. There's so many things that go into being chosen for a festival. And so I'm very thankful for the festivals that I've gotten into and the various projects that have gotten into various festivals. But the first thing I want to tell people about film festivals and the role they play is it's not life or death for your project.
Right.
So if you don't, you know what I mean? For Shush has gotten into 10 festivals, but there's 27 other ones that said no. You know, and we've submitted them to like 40. It's probably going to be about 25, 30 that are like, nah, we won't get it.
So the bottom line is for them not to give up.
You can't. You can't. But when you do get into a festival, maximize that. Like, I feel like festivals are a great way. Those laurels mean something to someone. They're not the end-all, be-all, and they're not to die for, but when you do amass them, there are people that really validate that. And so they are a good thing as a calling card to say that your film, that there are several people out there that found value in what you had to say and that it was suitable for their audience. And that's a good thing. And then you also get a chance to just watch other people's work. When you're in the midst of making your own, you're not really watching much. So going to the festivals, making, you know, even if you have a festival that you didn't get into, if it's a valuable festival, show up. Show up and let them know that you didn't get in, but you came anyway, because that will endear you to them. And they'll look for your stuff the next time you submit. You know, and festival directors talk to each other. So if you're in one festival and you know that you want to get into another festival, talk to that festival director and see if they know the other festival and if they can like recommend you. Or if you want to get into a festival and you don't have the money, but you've endeared yourself to that festival, you can request a waiver. Sometimes they'll give you a discount. Sometimes they'll give you a full fee waiver.
Wow. And now that I didn't know.
Yeah. Like, so there's so many ways. And then More Than Enough Media gave away its first film festival grant this year.
Oh, okay.
To Stephen Strickland, a young filmmaker who's working on his first film, and so we granted him $250 towards his festival submissions.
Oh, awesome.
He won our grant, and we'll be doing another one this winter.
Okay.
So if you're trying to get into festivals and you're a little short, you know, follow us, and we might be able to help you out. Because I know how hard it is. But film festivals are a great way to learn the business and to really network, but they're also not the end-all, be-all of your work. Find community screenings. Do, you know, if it's not a festival, you can always do your own screenings, or you can find community events that are familiar with whatever your topic is, and maybe you can screen there. Festivals are great, but they're definitely, don't be discouraged when you don't get into the one you really want, because it's okay. Like, everybody's not gonna get your work, and that's okay. That's why we're able to do all these different genres and all these different films, so that we have all these different perspectives. And if somebody doesn't like yours or doesn't get yours, that's okay. Move on. Move on,
move on. So what advice would you give somebody just starting out, wanting to get into filmmaking?
Study.
Study?
Know film, like, depending on what your genre is, know your genre. Know the great directors of your genre, know the great classics in your genre, not so that you can duplicate or replicate that, but so you know where you're starting from. You know what you like. A lot of people want to get into film, but they have no idea what genre or what they want to do, and so you don't really have a starting point. The other thing is, watch films, go to festivals, talk to people. And a lot of people may not want to hear this, but if you're just starting out, gift your time. Stop walking up to people and expecting them to do the work for you. You know what I mean? If somebody is working on a film or something, and you don't, say you have, I mean, pay your bills. I ain't telling nobody to be out here hard. You want to be a hungry artist, you never want to be a starving one. So you never want to be starving, you never want to be thirsty. It's okay to be hungry. But, you know, volunteer your time. People are here to barter for sweat equity. And if you help them, they may help you. You never know. That's how I've gotten a lot of help. I didn't always have money to pay nobody. So, you know, it helps. And just really be sure this is what you want. Because if you're here to get famous, find a job. If you're here to be rich, find a job. If you're here to be seen only and not to help others be seen, find a new job.
So find a job. If you can't, like, check off those boxes, right?
You should. This should be what this should be air for you. You know what I mean? It should be air for you. And if you're not here because it's a passion or you feel like it's your purpose, then it's okay to be a hobbyist, but don't take up space for someone else who really wants this.
Yeah, that's good advice. That's good advice. Where do you see yourself, like, maybe 5 years from now? Where do you want to be?
Let's see, 5 years from now. On a personal side, hopefully I'll be married by then. We'll see.
With some chillins?
I don't know about the child part. But at least married.
Okay.
But career-wise, I would really love to be a showrunner on a network show that I'm in and on. I would love to be writing for other people. I would love for More Than Enough Media to be more than just me. I'm an S Corp, and S stands for solely by myself. So I would love to build out my company so that I'm able to not just hire on a freelance basis, but really have some in-house talent that we can groom and really help people expand and learn this business and learn the business of show, because it's 75% business, 25% show, maybe 25% show. But I really want to be able to be in a position where I'm hiring, where I'm teaching, where I'm depositing back, but I'm also growing myself. But I never want to, I want to be able to get into more rooms where I'm not the smartest person in the room, so I can really expand. And just take the stigma away from needing to be in the clique. Like, I was never in the clique. At least I don't feel like I'm not one of the cool kids. I don't know Issa. I worked on OWN, but I've never met Oprah. She don't know me. I made her show, but she don't know me. I do know Auntie Gail, though.
Oh, okay. That's somebody.
She don't know my name. She just remembers me when she sees me and goes, "Girl, well, if you where I am, then you where you're supposed to be." But yeah, so like, I want to just take away the stigma of thinking that you need to be in the clique to be progressive, but what you do need to be is in order.
Right.
Your stuff should be professional. You should make sure that, you know, that if you're a screenwriter, use proper format. You know what I mean? 12-point font, Courier, single space. Celtics is free.
Out there too.
Celtics is free. If you can't afford Final Draft, Celtics is free. Go get it. You know what I mean? If you are making a film, make the best film you have and that you can with what you have. And even if it's not perfect, that's okay. If people see, if the story, if your story is set, even if it's not that great in terms of production value, but your story hits people, you're halfway there.
Wow.
You know, and make sure that you don't skimp on your audio, because people, if they can't see it that well, but they can hear it, they're straight. If they can hear it and not see it, you know what I mean? So you're, just don't know where to cut corners. Audio and crafty are not the places to cut corners. Because if you can't afford to feed people, if you can't afford to pay people, at least feed them. You know, and just be kind. Be kind. You know, I was a terrible personnel manager in the beginning. I was terrible. My passion became aggression, and I was very brusque, and nobody wanted to work with me in the beginning because I was the monster. I became the monster I hated.
Wow. Well, it's good that you recognize that and you were able to.
I had friends that pulled me to the side.
Okay. Well, it's good that you had good friends who were honest with you.
They were.
Because some people will just not work with you, just not tell you, and let you go ahead and just continue that behavior.
Yeah, and like, so really be kind, and if someone does something to you that you don't care for, have the conversation, be an adult, don't be me, don't be me. I've had people do things that I didn't feel like were okay, and I didn't have those grown-up conversations, and then it became gossip, and it became a mess, and then we weren't friends, and don't create more drama. What we do is end drama, don't make drama, right? So just be kind, and be honest, and be a grown-up, and be forward-thinking, and be, you know, be kind. Like, be kind.
Okay. Well, you're very kind. I can't even imagine you in the early years, like you said you weren't kind. I can't even imagine that now.
There are actors that will tell you.
But we won't talk to them.
No, you can, because I'm very transparent. Transparency is my ministry. If you follow me on social, I'm very, very transparent.
Okay.
My mother's not really a fan.
She's as long as she don't tell her business.
Right. But no, transparency is my ministry, because I don't feel like, especially as women, we get the real story out here. And social media will have you jacked up, and you will be comparing your behind the scenes to somebody else's highlight reel. And it's not the same.
It's not the same.
You know, you can't compare your lived-in home to the model home that they're showing to sell it, you know? And so it's curated. So, you know, just being transparent for me is how I give back, because people think that I have it all together, and I'm like, no, girl, I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna pay June's bills too, but this is where we are.
But it helps them relate to you, and it probably gives people encouragement knowing that your struggle may be the same as theirs. And
then you never know who can help you. If you're honest, listen, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yep, exactly.
That's how I got here.
I know. Hey. Well, we're running out of time, but I wanted you to talk about any projects that you may not have touched on.
Okay. My most passionate project that I have coming up right now is the short film Them. It is the story of a mother and daughter who have lost the family patriarch. They're estranged, and they're really trying to figure out how to break the cycle of poor maternal relationships. I think that in general, but especially in the Caribbean background and even in the Southern background, you are honoring your mother, even if your mother is not honoring you. And that's not always fair, especially as an adult. And so as daughters, we also don't remember that our mothers are people, and so they have the opportunity to be flawed, and we don't give them that we don't give them that opening to do that and be that. And so this film is really about, you know, breaking that cycle and being better and getting professional help if you need it, and thinking about your mental space and others. And so we'll be premiering at the Strong Chance Film Festival in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay. So we're going to look forward to that.
Yes.
And we're also going to put on the screen a lot of things that you have coming up. So if somebody wanted to follow you on social media, stay connected to all your projects, where should they go?
Best place to go is, if you're following me on social, it's at Okema T Moore. Don't forget the T, because there is another Okema Moore floating out there.
Okay.
So it's at OKEMATMOORE, and that's on Twitter, Instagram, and then my website. I'm not always great about updating it timely, but if you, if you go to the website, which is More Than Enough, MOORETHANENUFF, yes, it's spelled very black, you can sign up for my mailing list, and I do make sure I put out blogs to encourage and to inform, and I also put out things about what we're doing and what's going on, so you can keep up with all of my craziness there.
Well, that's great. Thank you again, Okema, for coming on my show. And you dropped a lot of little nuggets that I know that filmmakers can take with them and be inspired. And, you know, I love your spirituality. I love your transparency, how you put everything out there. It's just been a pleasure to talk to you.
This has been so great, too. And thank you so much for your show.
Oh,
there's not a lot of places that us up-and-coming creatives that aren't in the rooms have to talk about what we're doing and to encourage people that may be more up and coming than we are. And I just really commend you on what you're doing and the fact that you reach out to the community and provide us with a space and a platform.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, it was my pleasure. Well, everyone, you know, you can see Okema and I have a love fest going on.
I know.
But we're running out of time. So until next week, consider yourself blacklit. Thank you.